Okay, YouTube, so this is a continuation of where I left off, Road Rage 55. I talked about how you gotta realize, like, when you're in a marriage, like, we can't expect your husband or your wife to be perfect. But if they are at least being a team player with you and continuing about these toxic family members, you guys need to stay together, especially if you have kids and no cheating is going on. You need to learn how to work through those issues if possible. Because sometimes the toxic relative could be in your house. Some of y'all got kids that can't stay out of trouble. And every time you look, they costing you some money or something. Time, having to go back and forth to court. You know, your situation is different. You can't just throw away your kids, and you shouldn't. You got to try to get them in line. Make the maximum effort to get them in line. But again, like your relatives, going back a little bit what we talked about in part 1, your relatives can be extremely toxic and problematic, especially when you're trying to prosper, when you're trying to be in good health. If they don't want those things for themselves, then they could be toxic. And again, you make it financially, you don't owe your brothers, sisters, cousins, aunties, uncles anything, especially if they didn't help you. You don't owe them anything. So I want to go into a little more details about some of the ways you can know you're dealing with toxic relatives. And some of y'all, you know, we're going to talk about whether or not you need to move. Because some of y'all, you've been wondering, should I just move out of town? We're going to talk about that next, maybe later or tomorrow. But again, if your relatives have been backstabbing you or gossiping about you, you always want to watch the person they talk to the most. Watch their reactions towards you. Listen carefully to the things they say to you. Because again, even with this Trump against Biden, a toxic relative, you'll fall out with them over. Listen, they shouldn't care who you voting for. You know, I'm voting for Trump. I don't have no shame about it. And any of my relatives that don't like it, listen. And you hear this. That's tough. It's gonna happen. I'm voting for Trump. You know, and especially if you one that has never supported me in anything, you've backbited against me, you're a toxic relative, then whatever I'm through with him. Listen, a lot of these people that say this to you and that say this to me haven't done anything for you anyways. The most of them have done for you is talk about you. Negative.